Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about the debut album to be released by Swardy. Ben Swardlick, aka Swardy, is an American electronic music producer. He is a member of the superb music group known as the M Machine. I learned that while doing research for this album, and it completely blew my mind. I had no idea that he was one of the guys from that group. They've been active since like the early 2010s. They've been around for a while. He initially announced his solo project back in 2018. That was when he released his first single entitled Here on My Own. I do remember the song well. I used to work at Chipotle at the time, and I remember I would hear the song maybe 3 or 4 times per shift. It was one of those songs that would play on the little Muzak box that's in the back in the office. I remember finding the tune to be unique, but I had come to associate the tune with work. So, unfortunately, I didn't appreciate the music as much as I should have. I didn't necessarily have the most positive feelings towards the song since I was always hearing it at work. Those who have worked in retail or any other restaurant like that probably know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the EP that accompanied this single released that same year, and it was a genuinely beautiful project. And I had then gained a newfound sense of appreciation for the unique producer. Swarty is one of those gems of an artist that has such a distinct auditory and visual style, and it all kind of blends together very well. It's very cohesive, but it's very distinct as well. It's not something that can easily be recreated by others if someone wanted to. And to me, this debut album, Compact Objects, represents Swarty coming in full force as a solo producer. I can tell that he's finding his footing in terms of his solo music. And I believe that the album not only delivers, but personally, it exceeded my expectations. It is truly a magical body of work. The album is a bite-sized total of 8 tracks, sitting just barely over 25 minutes in runtime. So if you're not one to sit through a long album, this is probably one for you that you'll probably enjoy. And as always, I'm going to be offering my thoughts and highlights track by track, naturally starting with the first one, here entitled A Boat-Shaped Leaf. This is a serene intro track that sets up the tone for the album perfectly. The chords we hear during the intro sounds like a beautiful amalgamation of different synths and instruments, which is something that Swarty does a lot in his production. About 1 minute into the song, the kick drum enters the mix and adds a crazy level of depth to the mix. The melody continues to repeat, this time with a blend of flutes and warm, what I believe to be xylophones, to change up the color palette. The drums enter with smooth grooves that steadily push the song along, a lot like the steady pulse of calm ocean waves. We can also hear Swarty's soft vocal singing the words, "Guessing it's over now," and this just repeats. This vocal ostinato carries us through to the end of the song until the mix drops and we're left with only the vocals. Track number 2 is entitled Cold Man. A bright string section eases the listener into the intro of the song. We can hear hollow drums slowly entering the mix, accompanied by a syncopated synth bass. A beautiful keyboard then joins the mix, and soon after, the song just explodes with color and sound, guiding the listener with a wonderful boom-bap type of energy in terms of the drums. We can hear Swarty's vocals enter the mix, and we can hear the sound at first, but we don't know what he's saying. Eventually, we can hear him singing the words, "It's getting colder, but it's not over. I'll tell you the truth, I'm getting older. It's getting colder, I'm getting older. I'm older than you." The background accompaniment also features a blend of chopped up vocals, so it's mostly incomprehensible, but it sounds beautiful in the mix. There's also a blend of different woodwind and brass instruments, such as a saxophone, and there are hints of what I think are trumpets at syncopated moments. I also have to talk about that wild flute solo towards the end of the song. It's just bursting with energy, and it sounds excellent in the mix. Although I do wish it was longer. Honestly, it's just about 15 seconds long. I would have loved to hear more of this flute instrument. It just kind of presented more prominently, but that's honestly just a minor critique. It's hard to say what this song is about thematically. I interpreted it to be about the complex emotions that one can experience as one grows older. some people can become cynical when they get older, and while the lyrics don't make any definitive statements about the subject, the jovial energy of the song leads me to believe that Swarty is at least coming at it from a positive and healthy place, mentally. The song is a massive highlight for me on the album. Track number 3 is entitled In Her Element. The song features a beautiful blend of humming, woodwind instruments, such as the prominent clarinet that can be heard, and lazy synths. I can also hear varying keyboard timbres in the mix that offer color changes for the song as it goes on. I do enjoy the minimalist approach to the production, and most of the album shares that as well in common, as we have many repeating notes and rhythms that can be heard throughout the mix. It genuinely reminds me of maybe a Terry Riley piece in terms of orchestration and the structuring, the colors and the taste of the timbres in the song. It all just kind of feels very minimalist, very organic. It's very life. I don't know. It's just bursting with life. The mix is richly layered and phases different elements out as the song progresses, so we can hear a gorgeous blend of different colors and textures. So by the end of the song, we're left with what we can hear just elements like melodic humming, the sound of small machinery. I couldn't tell what exactly it was, but it could have been like a weed whacker, something small, something you can hold in your hands. And of course, the gentle brush of ocean waves. With that, we transition into track number 4, entitled Compact Objects. This song has a super bright intro. The energy just feels like rays of sunshine shining down on a dandelion, if you can imagine that. The vocals here are pitched up and they are super crisp. The beat drop section features keyboards and smooth boom bap type drums. That's the best way I can describe it. There's a high-pitched whistly synth that plays a sustained tone that raises the energy of the song. It's very distinct. I don't know, it's just like a very nice whistle. And the layered synth chords that we can hear carry the melody during this section. I can hear a blend of Rhodes, vocals, and other synths coming together to create the unique timbre for the layered melody. There's a thick brass-like synth underneath the mix that just sounds beautiful as well. It's sitting at the right level of depth, and I think it fits the mix like a glove. The lyrics can be tough to make out. It honestly took me a few listens to understand. It's a beautiful song about sorting out your emotions and coming to terms with them. My favorite lines can be heard during the first verse. We can hear, "You, my friend, are doing the thing again. Yeah, holding it in, but then crushing it too damn dense to understand." The refrain of the song expands on this as we can hear Swardy sing, "This come down was brutal to sort out. That dust cloud, well, it settled my heart down." I love how Swardy blends pitched up vocals with his regular singing tone. In the background of the refrain, we can hear him sing in his regular voice the words, "It was beautiful," and it just kind of repeats throughout in the background. I guess this is his way of describing the explosion that can follow after you've bottled up your emotions to their absolute limit. Track number 5 is entitled Medellin Crosswalk Boop. This is an ambient tune featuring humming and the sounds of a busy street. Feels like it's raining also. There are soft synth chords that enter the mix beautifully, playing gorgeous melodies. The synth is drenched in reverb that helps deepen the mix wonderfully. It's a lovely interlude, sitting just under 2 minutes in length. And with that, we transition into track number 6, entitled Morna Diablatins. The intro features the syncopated chords being outlined by synths and keyboards. Percussive elements here include a bunch of claps being blended together, and that adds a lot of life to the mix. We can barely hear the melody in the background as the song goes on, and soon Swardy brings it to the forefront very well. The song gets really interesting after this point. The melody is carried by chopped up vocals, and underneath that we can hear a buzzing, distorted bass synth. The blend of synths and samples is honestly mesmerizing here. The drums become richer, and the shaker that enters the mix is really the cherry on top for me. Everything just feels so fluid and organic. Eventually, the mix does quiet down, at which point a piano is introduced, and we can also hear a different type of keyboard sneaking into the mix here. Collectively, the song is like a fugue of different melodies, various melodies that have been previously established, and they all come together as the song progresses. Overall, it is a beautifully layered and minimalist track. We transition into track number 7, entitled Frog Politics. This is like a cute little interlude. The intro features vocal samples and animated hopping sounds, presumably the frogs from the song title. It's a segue track that is full of ambience and style. I find the announcement that plays in the song to be cute. We can hear a tiny frog on a speaker saying, "That's right, tadpoles, pollywogs, peepers, belchers, and bulls are hopping down to the polls right now. It's like my daddy used to say, if you want your croak heard, you gotta get your vote heard." It's a brief interlude track that adds so much character to the project. And with that, we transition into the closing track for the album entitled You Belong / Built Myself. The intro features a flute repeating the same note with different rhythms. It's like a pedal tone that's syncopated, and it helps create a cool, phased sense of progression. Warm synth strings join the mix until we're left with rising white noise, and the mix goes silent for a moment, and suddenly we have an explosion of sound. At this point, we can hear what I can describe as being indie rock-style drums, and there is a thick bass synth that feels plucked, and synth chords in the background that are holding several pedal tones down. There are vocal elements present as well. We can hear the words, "You belong, and that's all right. One more floor before we get too high." This chorus section steadily builds, and then we reach the bridge. Here the mix drastically calms down, and we're left with hollow plucked synth chords. A new melodic element enters the mix after this point, played with a bunch of different timbres, and the music's groove does pick up the pace. The song gets faster here. It's like a faster flavor in terms of the drums, and it feels like we're in a completely new song. I guess this is the Built Myself section that the title alludes to, and it feels like it's just a whole different groove here. We can hear pitched up vocals repeating the words, "Well, I sauntered vaguely downwards till I bottomed out on you, my friend, and I built myself anew again. So I opened up that bag of wind on a boat without a crew again, and I found myself with you again, so I built myself anew again." Swardy slowly blends this section with the first section of the song, and the drums revert to their former slower groove from the first half. The music gradually fades out into nothingness, and to me it is thematically a beautiful song about finding acceptance and being happy with the person you've become. Overall, this is a gorgeous album. Swardy is such an interesting producer to me, and I found this project to be refreshing. He presents the listener with unique instrumentals and whimsical soundscapes. His usage of lyrics is minimal, and I appreciate his approach to songwriting just because it allows him to get straight to the point. There's not a lot of filler to be found here. He's able to paint beautiful scenes with his instrumentals, and honestly, this minimalist approach to structure and layering ends up complementing his lyrics in the best way possible. He leaves you with enough auditory stimulation that you as a listener can connect the dots and interpret the music in your own way. I'd say this was a strong debut album, one that's well worth the listen. I had already been a fan of the M Machine for years now, so learning that Swardy was a part of that group helps me understand his solo music in a very different way. I already had knowledge of some of his production style, at the very least, from their music, so I can see that his solo career allows him to go in all sorts of different directions. I'm excited to see where Swardy goes from here, as honestly, the sky is the limit. He has a unique artistic vision and presents his ideas in wonderfully whimsical ways. And also, if you get the time and you're curious, he did make a short animated video for this album that kind of features different songs from the album together, almost like the highlights of the album. And the animation, as I understand it, was something that he worked on to kind of be a complimentary project for the album. And it is honestly a very cute video. It's like 8 or 9 minutes long. I'm probably going to leave the link to that in the description if you're curious and want to check it out. Honestly, a gem of an artist, and I'm just so happy with this project. It's bite-sized, it's very easy to soak in, but there's so much to unpack here. So if you've never listened to electronic music that is on the calmer, more perhaps introspective side, this is definitely the album for you to listen to. And if you have sat here and listened to me talk about Swardy and compact objects, honestly, thank you. No one asked you to do all that, but here we are. So I really do appreciate the support. And if you have new music that you've been listening to and you really want to share with somebody, you can always send that my way. I'm constantly looking for new music to listen to. So if you've come across something that you really want to share with somebody, you know exactly who to send it to. And with all that being said, I hope you're having a very wonderful day. It is still absolutely hot out there, so just make sure to keep yourself hydrated and take care.